The message arrived on a Tuesday. Captain Kim stood before the United Earth Council, his normally composed demeanor betraying the slightest hint of apprehension. The signal is genuine. The Galactic Council has made contact and will arrive within the month. President Park leaned forward. And their intentions? They claim to be peaceful, offering technology, protection, and interstellar trade. Later that evening, aboard the Galactic Council vessel, Ambassador Lee was welcomed by Counselor Mara, a tall, elegant being with iridescent skin. "Your species has progressed remarkably fast," Mara observed, leading Lee through corridors of impossible geometry. "Most take millennia to reach your level of development." What the humans couldn't see was the emergency meeting held afterward. Admiral Toll had pounded his fist against the table. Their weapons technology has advanced 300 cycles faster than projected. They must be contained. The next day, Earth received the offer: provisional membership with strict limitations on military expansion. In a secure bunker beneath Seoul, General Choi nodded to President Park. They took the bait. Operation Shadow Fleet remains undetected. The stars look different from space. Ambassador Lee noted this as he stood by the viewing port of the Galactic Council's diplomatic vessel. 6 days had passed since first contact, and Earth was still buzzing with excitement. News channels played the footage of the alien ships arriving in orbit on endless loops. Religious leaders debated the theological implications. Stock markets fluctuated wildly. But here, in the quiet of the alien ship, Lee felt a strange calm. He was making history with every breath. "Ambassador, the Council is ready to meet with you now," said his aide. "Song." Lee straightened his tie and followed Song through the curved hallways. The ship's design defied human architectural principles. Doorways appeared where there had been none. Rooms seemed larger inside than their external dimensions suggested. The council chamber was a half-circle of raised seats, with 5 different alien species watching him enter. Counselor Mara sat in the center, her skin shifting through shades of blue and green. "Ambassador Lee," she said, her voice translated perfectly into Korean in his earpiece, "we are pleased to formalize our relationship with Earth." Lee bowed slightly. "Earth is honored by your presence and offer of friendship." A being that looked like a tall praying mantis spoke next. "Our scans of your planet reveal impressive technological growth. Your people have moved from primitive flight to space travel in less than 2 centuries. We are curious by nature," Lee replied with a small smile. "Curiosity can be dangerous," rumbled a creature with gray stone-like skin. "Many species destroy themselves before reaching the stars." Mara raised a hand with too many joints. "What matters is that humanity is ready to join the galactic community. We offer knowledge, protection, and trade. In return, we ask for resources and compliance with council regulations." Lee noticed she did not mention what resources they wanted. "And these regulations?" he asked. A holographic document appeared before him, written in multiple languages including English. Lee read carefully. Most seemed reasonable. Guidelines about interstellar travel, contact protocols with other species, environmental protections. But buried in the middle were strict limitations on military development and weapons research. "You wish us to reduce our defense capabilities?" Lee asked carefully. Admiral Toll, a broad-shouldered being with metallic scales, leaned forward. "Not reduce. Merely halt expansion. For the good of all. Weapons development leads to instability." Lee remembered his briefing. "Show caution but not suspicion. I will need to discuss these terms with my government." "Of course," Mara said smoothly. "We would expect nothing less." Back on Earth, the United Security Council gathered in the underground facility beneath the old Seoul subway system. 14 screens showed the faces of world leaders and military commanders. "They want us to stop building ships," said President Park, summarizing Lee's report. "Exactly as intelligence predicted." General Choi, head of Earth's combined space forces, nodded. "The pattern matches what we've observed in their previous encounters. They identify promising species, offer friendship, then slowly drain them of resources while keeping them militarily dependent. "How did we get this intelligence?" asked the European Union president. Captain Kim stepped forward, activating a holographic display. 3 years ago, one of our deep space probes detected debris from a battle. We recovered data cores from a destroyed ship belonging to the Paraxians. They had been befriended by the Council 50 years ago. When they tried to renegotiate terms, their fleet was destroyed and their colonies occupied. "And Operation Shadow Fleet?" asked the Russian premier. General Choi pressed a button. The display changed to show massive underground facilities on Mars, beneath the Antarctic ice, and in the asteroid belt. "Proceeding ahead of schedule. We've managed to hide 90% of our production from orbital scanning. The ships we're showing them represent only 20% of our actual fleet strength." President Park looked at each face on the screens. "We must appear to accept their terms while continuing our preparations. If they truly come in peace, we lose nothing. If not..." The Brazilian president finished the thought. "We'll be ready." Ambassador Lee was given a tour of the Council's ship the next day. Mara showed him their medical facilities, which could cure diseases Earth doctors still considered fatal. Their agricultural technology could end world hunger. Their energy production made Earth's nuclear plants look like campfires. "All this could be yours," Mara said, gesturing to a room full of technology Lee couldn't begin to understand. "Why help us?" Lee asked. "What does Earth offer the Council?" Mara's skin rippled with color. "Fresh perspectives. Cultural exchange. Some resources we find valuable." She paused. "And frankly, Ambassador, your species would develop these technologies eventually. We prefer to guide that process rather than allow it to happen chaotically." Control, Lee thought. They want control. Later, in his private quarters, Lee used a special device to scan for listening devices. Finding none, he activated his secure communication link to Earth. "They're offering exactly what we expected," he told President Park. "The restrictions focus on propulsion technology and weapons systems. The very areas where we've made our greatest secret advances," Park replied. "Accept their terms tomorrow." Operation Shadow Fleet continues. 2 days later, Earth formally joined the Galactic Council as a probationary member. The ceremony was broadcast worldwide. Humans celebrated in the streets, marveling at the dawn of a new era. In a secured bunker beneath Seoul, General Choi watched the coverage with a grim expression. "They're already positioning ships near our mining colonies on the moon," he said to President Park. "Let them think they have us," Park replied. "In 5 years, they'll learn what humanity is truly capable of." On the main screen, Ambassador Lee shook Mara's hand as cameras flashed. Both were smiling. Both were hiding secrets. 3 years passed. Councilor Mara smiled as she approved another resource extraction permit for Earth's lunar facilities. The humans had been surprisingly compliant. Diplomat Han sipped his tea aboard the Council station, watching aliens from 100 worlds conduct business. His translator badge pinged. He'd accidentally connected to a secure channel. "Earth is progressing nicely through Phase 3, a voice said. "Resource dependency at 28%. Estimate complete economic subordination within 7 years. Military capabilities remain minimal." Han maintained his calm expression while his heart raced. This matched the pattern his team had discovered. 27 other species, all following the same trajectory from partnership to servitude. That night, Han transmitted a single code to Earth: Thermopylae. In response, hidden facilities throughout the solar system quietly hummed to life. Beneath the ice of Europa, Commander Kang reviewed the activation sequence of 500 warships that officially didn't exist. Diplomat Han walked through the gleaming corridors of Nexus Station, the massive space structure that served as the Galactic Council's diplomatic hub. 3 years had passed since Earth joined the Council, and much had changed. Earth now had 5 permanent representatives on the station. Humans could be seen everywhere, learning, trading, and absorbing the cultures of 1,000 worlds. To most observers, Humanity's integration into galactic society was a remarkable success story. Han knew better. He nodded politely to a pair of Malorians, their translucent bodies glowing softly as they passed. At the viewing deck, he paused to look out at the stunning vista of stars and nearby planets. The tea in his cup had grown cold, but he hardly noticed. The data didn't lie. In 3 years, Earth's resource exports had tripled, while imports of Council technology had created dependencies in key sectors. Earth's own manufacturing was being slowly replaced by more efficient alien solutions. Jobs were disappearing. And the Council's security forces now patrolled Earth's solar system, ostensibly for protection. Han's translator badge buzzed again. He frowned. The device had been malfunctioning lately, picking up random signals. He tapped it once, expecting to hear static. Instead, he heard Admiral Toll's distinctive voice. Earth is progressing nicely through Phase 3. Resource dependency at 28%. Estimate complete economic subordination within 7 years. Military capabilities remain minimal. Han froze, keeping his face carefully neutral. He recognized the other voice that responded as Counselor Maris. Excellent. Their lunar resources are particularly valuable. The humans remain unaware of how essential those minerals are for our fleet expansion. What about their shadow directive? Asked a third voice Han didn't recognize. Mara laughed. A small group of paranoid military officers. They've made no significant moves. Their visible fleet remains primitive and small, exactly as required by our treaty. Han walked casually toward a quieter section of the viewing deck, his mind racing. Shadow Directive was a classified Earth project. How did the Council know about it? More importantly, why weren't they concerned? And the other species? Toll asked. Any signs of cooperation? None, Mara replied. Earth, like the others, believes they are special. Unique. They don't realize they're simply the 28th world to follow this path. Han's blood ran cold. 27 other worlds, just as their intelligence suspected. The signal cut out. Han sat perfectly still, sipping his cold tea. 2 Arcturian diplomats walked past, their 4 eyes blinking in sequence. Han nodded pleasantly. He needed to verify what he'd heard, and he needed to do it without alerting the Council. Later that night, Han used his diplomatic clearance to access the station's historical archives. As Earth's cultural attaché, he had legitimate reasons to research other species' histories. The records showed a clear pattern. The Pevari, once known for their advanced mathematics. The Jantari, experts in medicine. The Naloxians, pioneers in agriculture. 27 species, all once promising, all now reduced to resource providers and cheap labor for the Council. Most disturbing were the notes on resistance. 3 species had eventually realized what was happening and tried to break free. All 3 had their homeworlds blockaded, their colonies seized, their populations relocated for safety. Han carefully closed the files and returned to his quarters. There, he activated a communication device that looked like an ordinary pen. The quantum-entangled particles inside would transmit a message directly to Earth without going through any Council systems. He typed a single word, Thermopyla. It was the code they had established years ago, a reference to ancient Earth history, a small force standing against overwhelming odds. It meant their worst fears were confirmed. On Earth, General Choi was awakened by a soft chime from his secure terminal. The message appeared on his screen, just one word. His face grew grim. Within minutes, the Earth Defense Council was gathering in a hidden facility deep beneath the Pacific Ocean. We have confirmation, Choi told the assembled leaders. Operation Shadow Fleet must proceed to Phase 2. President Jin nodded gravely. Send the activation codes. Throughout the solar system, hidden facilities hummed to life. In the asteroid belt, massive chunks of space rock split apart, revealing shipyards inside. On Mars, what appeared to be ordinary research stations extended deep underground, where advanced weapons were being assembled. On Venus, Beneath the toxic clouds, human engineers finalized propulsion systems that defied the Council's understanding of physics. And beneath the ice of Europa, Commander Kang sat at the control center of humanity's largest secret. 500 warships, each more advanced than anything the Council had seen, waiting silently in massive underwater hangars. Kang received the activation signal and inserted her command key. Screens lit up around her as systems began powering up for the first time. "Begin crew deployment," she ordered. "Full readiness in 72 hours. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Sun, looked nervous. "The Council must suspect something. Their patrols have increased near Jupiter's moons." Kang smiled slightly. "They patrol where they expect to find something, but they never look deep enough." She gestured to the vast underground ocean around them. "We hide in plain sight, Lieutenant. Humanity learned that lesson well." Sun nodded. "What about our people on the Council station? Diplomat Han and the others?" "Extraction teams are already in motion," Kang replied. "Within 48 hours, all essential personnel will be safely away from Council space." She turned to look at the main display, showing hundreds of ships silently waiting. Each vessel represented thousands of hours of secret labor, advanced technology the Council believed humans incapable of developing. "For 3 years, they've taken our resources, undermined our economy, and prepared us for servitude," Kang said quietly. "They believe us weak and compliant." She activated the main communication system, connecting to all hidden bases throughout the solar system. "This is Commander Kang. Operation Shadow Fleet is now active. The Council believes they know humanity's strength. In 3 days, they will learn how wrong they are." Throughout the solar system, humans received the message and prepared for what would come next. The waiting was over. The real test was about to begin. "These terms are unacceptable," President Yoon stated flatly. Supreme Counselor Vex seemed amused. "You misunderstand. These aren't negotiations. They're requirements. Earth will increase resource exports by 300% and accept permanent Council oversight of all technological development." The Council Armada arrived 3 days later, 50 capital ships positioning themselves around Earth. Admiral Toll's hologram flickered in the UN chamber. "You have 48 hours to comply. Your primitive defenses cannot hope to resist. Be reasonable." Director Ba of Earth Intelligence straightened her uniform and whispered to the President. "Shadow Fleet reports all systems ready. 5 years of preparation about to pay off." President Yoon nodded. "Tell Admiral Toll we need to discuss terms aboard his flagship. We'll send our highest representatives." The room fell silent as Admiral Toll's hologram faded. 50 world leaders sat frozen in the United Nations Emergency Chamber, the weight of the ultimatum hanging heavy in the air. President Yoon stood at the podium, her face calm despite the crisis. Outside, billions of humans watched on screens as massive alien ships darkened the skies above major cities. The sight was meant to frighten. To many, it was working. "They've shown their true faces at last," Yoon said quietly. "The mask of friendship has fallen." The Russian president spoke first. "Their demands would drain Earth dry within a decade. Our people would become nothing more than workers in their minds." "Those terms amount to surrender," added the African Union leader. "We would lose all independence." From the back of the room, Director Ba approached the podium. Her steps were measured, her gray uniform crisp. She handed President Yoon a small data pad. "Shadow Fleet is fully operational," she whispered. "All ships report ready status. 5 years of preparation, waiting for this moment." A thin smile crossed Yoon's face. She addressed the room again. "For 5 years, we have shown the Council what they expected to see, a compliant, grateful Earth. For 5 years, we have hidden our true strength while they believed us weak." She tapped a button. The room's main screen lit up, showing a map of the solar system. Hundreds of small dots appeared, clustered in locations throughout Earth's neighborhood. Mars, Venus, the asteroid belt, the moons of Jupiter and Saturn. "The Shadow Fleet," Yoon said. 500 warships with technology that matches or exceeds the Council's best. Ships they never detected because they never truly respected our capabilities enough to look properly. The Brazilian president leaned forward. Can we win a direct confrontation? Director Ba stepped up. Our simulations suggest yes, but there would be significant casualties on both sides. Then we avoid direct confrontation, Yoon said firmly. At least until we're ready. Admiral Toll expects us to either surrender or make a futile stand with our public fleet, the small, outdated ships they allow us to maintain. She smiled slightly. We will do neither. Instead, we will play for time. Admiral Toll stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Resolute Dominion. The massive vessel hung in orbit above Earth, surrounded by 49 other Council ships. From here, he could see the blue planet turning slowly below, unaware of how close it was to subjugation. Status report, he commanded. His first officer, a tall Peruvian with silver skin, responded immediately. Earth's military vessels remain in their assigned docks. No unusual movements detected. Their global communications show widespread fear and calls for compliance with our demands. Toll nodded, pleased. As expected, humans talk of independence, but when faced with superior force, they crumble. A communication officer called out, Admiral, incoming transmission from Earth's government. Display, Toll ordered. President Yoon's face appeared on the main screen. She looked appropriately concerned. Admiral Toll, we request additional time to consider your terms. The changes you demand would require significant restructuring of our global economy. Toll made a dismissive gesture. You have 48 hours, as stated, not a minute more. Then perhaps we could discuss some modifications to ease the transition. Our highest representatives would like to meet with you directly. Toll considered this. Humans often needed the illusion of negotiation before accepting the inevitable. It was a weakness he had seen in many species. Very well. You may send 3 representatives to my ship tomorrow. But understand this. The core demands are non-negotiable. Yoon nodded solemnly. Thank you, Admiral. We will prepare our team immediately. The transmission ended. Toll turned to his second-in-command. Predictable. They will plead, then accept reality. In the secure bunker beneath Seoul, President Yoon met with her crisis team. The Admiral has agreed to the meeting, she told them. Now we select our representatives. Director Ba pulled up personnel files. We need individuals who can maintain the deception while gathering final intelligence on their fleet positioning. Min, the defense minister, looked troubled. Whoever goes may be at risk when we reveal the Shadow Fleet. They knew the risks when they volunteered, Yoon replied. And extraction teams will be ready. She studied the files before her. Ambassador Wu has the most experience with Council protocols. Colonel Shin has detailed knowledge of their military systems, and Dr. Cho can assess their technological weaknesses. The 3 names were approved unanimously. Now, Yoon continued, we finalize Operation Revelation. Director Ba, is the Shadow Fleet positioned for maximum effect? Ba nodded. Phase 1 units are in place. When activated, they will emerge simultaneously from all hiding locations surrounding the Council fleet before they can react. Minister Min looked at the tactical display. And if they call for reinforcements? Our intelligence suggests their nearest substantial force is 3 days away at their fastest speed, they replied. By then, we will have either reached an agreement or... She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. The next day, a small Earth shuttle approached the Resolute Dominion. Inside, Ambassador Wu reviewed final instructions with Colonel Shin and Dr. Cho. Remember, we need to maintain the appearance of desperate negotiation, Wu said. Keep them talking for as long as possible while our forces move into final position. Colonel Shin checked his watch. Shadow Fleet will complete deployment in approximately 6 hours. Dr. Cho looked nervous. What if they detect the fleet movements? They won't, Shin replied confidently. Our stealth systems were specifically designed to counter their scanning technology. The shuttle docked with the massive Council flagship. Admiral Toll was waiting, flanked by guards. "Welcome aboard," he said, not bothering to hide the smugness in his voice. "I trust you've come with the authority to accept our terms." Ambassador Wu bowed slightly. "We've come to discuss how best to implement the Council's wishes while minimizing disruption to Earth's population." Toll led them to a conference room, where several other Council officials waited. Maps of Earth's resources were already displayed on screens. "Let us begin with mineral extraction quotas," Toll said, activating a holographic display. "Your lunar facilities will need to triple output immediately." Wu nodded gravely. "That would be difficult with our current technology. Perhaps the Council could provide assistance." "Perhaps," Toll said dismissively. "Now, regarding oversight of your technological development." As the meeting progressed, Colonel Shin subtly scanned the ship's layout with devices hidden in his clothing. Dr. Cho analyzed the technology visible around them, sending encrypted data back to Earth with each casual gesture. And aboard the Shadow Fleet vessels throughout the solar system, human crews made final preparations. The countdown to revelation had begun. Admiral Toll watched as the human delegation boarded his ship, so predictably docile in the face of superior power. Chief Negotiator Jun bowed respectfully. "We wish to discuss alternatives that might." An aide rushed to Admiral Toll, face contorted with panic. "Sir, energy signatures, everywhere." Across the solar system, the veil dropped. Massive doors opened in Mercury's dark side. Venus's cloud layer parted to reveal shipyards. Mars's polar caps shifted, exposing launch bays. Jupiter's moons disgorged vessels that had been hiding in plain sight. Captain Ryu of the Earth flagship Defiance opened a channel to all Council vessels. "Admiral Toll, your sensors are now detecting the United Earth Defense Force. 500 warships equipped with technologies we developed while you thought us contained." On the flagship, Negotiator Jun smiled at the stunned Admiral. "Did you truly believe we'd share our best ideas with you?" Admiral Toll stood tall in the meeting chamber, looking down at the three humans with barely disguised contempt. They were so small, so fragile. Their faces showed the proper mix of fear and respect that he had come to expect from lesser species. "Your proposals are noted," he said dismissively, "but the Council's requirements stand. Earth will increase resource production and accept our oversight." Chief Negotiator Jun bowed his head respectfully. "Admiral, perhaps we could explore a more gradual implementation." "Our economy." Toll raised his hand, silencing Jun mid-sentence. These meetings were always the same. The soon-to-be subjugated species would plead, bargain, and eventually submit. It was the natural order of things. An urgent beeping sound interrupted his thoughts. His second-in-command, Officer Merck, pressed a hand to his communication device, frowning. "Excuse me, Admiral," Merck whispered, stepping closer. "Something unusual is happening." Toll waved him away. "Handle it. I'm busy." Merck persisted. "Sir, our sensors are detecting anomalies, energy signatures appearing throughout the solar system. Probably equipment malfunctions," Toll muttered. "Run a diagnostic." But the beeping grew more insistent. A junior officer burst into the room, his face twisted with panic. "Admiral, energy signatures, everywhere. Massive power readings from locations throughout the system." For the first time, Toll felt a flicker of concern. He turned to the main display screen. "Show me." The screen lit up with a map of Earth's solar system. At first glance, everything appeared normal. Then, one by one, red dots began to appear. Dozens at first, then hundreds. "What is this?" Toll demanded. On the dark side of Mercury, massive doors that had been disguised as natural craters slowly opened. Inside, shipyards that had been hidden for years revealed rows of sleek warships. In Venus's thick atmosphere, special cloud formations that had concealed construction facilities began to disperse, showing massive vessels rising toward space. On Mars, what had appeared to be ordinary ice at the polar caps shifted, revealing launch bays beneath. Ships emerged in perfect formation. The moons of Jupiter, particularly Europa and Ganymede, split open along what Council scans had identified as natural fissures. More ships emerged from underground oceans and hidden bases. Throughout the asteroid belt, what had seemed like ordinary space rocks unfolded to reveal ships nestled inside. Toll stared at the screen in disbelief. This is impossible. Our scans never detected any of this. Across the room, Chief Negotiator June smiled for the first time. It was not a pleasant smile. Did you scan beneath Europa's ice sheets? Did you analyze the cloud patterns on Venus? Did you ever wonder why we seem so interested in asteroid mining? June asked quietly. You saw what we wanted you to see. Toll turned to his officers. Battle stations. Alert the fleet. But it was already too late. The communication officer's voice shook as he reported. Sir, the human vessels have achieved tactical positions surrounding our entire fleet. They outnumber us 10 to 1. The main screen changed to show a human in a crisp military uniform. The insignia identified her as Captain Ryu of the Earth vessel Defiance. Admiral Toll, she said, her voice calm and measured. Your sensors are now detecting the United Earth Defense Force. 500 warships equipped with technologies we've developed while you thought us contained. Your fleet is surrounded. Toll's mind raced, trying to process what was happening. This is impossible, he repeated. Your technological level was exactly what we showed you. June interrupted. Did you truly believe we'd share our best ideas with you? That we'd reveal our true capabilities to a council that has systematically exploited 27 other species? Toll stared at the human, finally seeing him clearly. There was no fear in June's eyes. There never had been. You knew, Toll said, comprehension dawning. From the beginning, you knew what we intended. June nodded. We intercepted communications from a Paraxian ship 3 years before you contacted us. We learned what happened to them when they tried to resist openly. So we chose a different path. On the screen, Captain Ryu continued. Admiral, your ships are targeted by weapons you've never seen before. Your engines are held in place by gravitational fields you don't understand. And your communications to the Council homeworlds have been temporarily blocked. Officer Merck's voice was tight with tension. She's right, Admiral. We're detecting energy fields unlike anything in our database. We can't move, and long-range communications are being jammed. For the first time in his long career, Toll felt genuine fear. Not just for himself, but for the Council's entire strategy of galactic domination. If humans had hidden this level of technology and military power, what else might they be capable of? June stood up straighter. For 5 years, we've prepared for this moment. While you took our resources, we studied your weaknesses. While you thought us compliant, we built our strength. Admiral Toll struggled to maintain his composure. What do you want? A genuine partnership, June replied. Not subjugation disguised as friendship. Our president wishes to speak with you directly. The screen split to show President Yoon alongside Captain Ryu. Admiral Toll, Yoon said firmly, humanity does not wish for war. But neither will we accept servitude. The Council's days of silent conquest are over. Toll looked at the tactical display again. Earth ships surrounded his fleet completely. They were sleek, advanced vessels that bore little resemblance to the crude ships humans had shown the Council. How had they hidden all this? How had the mighty Council been so thoroughly deceived? This changes nothing, Toll said, trying to sound confident. The Council will send more ships. You cannot hope to. We've already contacted other species in your empire. Yoon interrupted. The Paraxians, the Jantari, the Naloxians. They're watching this transmission right now, learning that resistance is possible. Your system of control relies on each species believing they are alone. That illusion ends today. Toll felt the ground shifting beneath him. Not physically, but the foundations of the Council's power were crumbling before his eyes. June stepped closer. "Now, Admiral, shall we discuss new terms? As equals this time." The human Armada moved with precision, surrounding the Council fleet without firing a shot. Admiral Toll expected annihilation. Instead, he received a transmission from President Yoon. "We could have struck first. Remember that. Now let's discuss what real partnership looks like." 2 months later, Ambassador Min addressed the full Galactic Council. "Humanity did not develop in isolation, and we do not wish to stand apart now, but neither will we kneel. The era of the Council's silent conquests is over." Word spread. On distant worlds, other species watched recordings of Earth's stand. In hushed conversations, they spoke of their own hidden potentials. Councillor Mara approached Ambassador Min after the session. "You've changed everything." Min nodded. That was the point. The galaxy needs partners, not masters and servants. As Min looked out at the stars from the Council station, he thought about how close they'd come to conflict. How humanity's preparation had prevented war rather than started one. The Galactic Council would evolve. Humanity would help guide it, and the stars would be better for it. Silence filled the command deck of Admiral Toll's flagship. The tactical display showed the impossible. 500 Earth vessels surrounding the Council fleet, their weapons systems powered and ready. Toll had expected many outcomes from this mission. Humanity's easy surrender, perhaps token resistance, even a desperate futile last stand. But not this. Never this. "Your orders, Admiral," asked his second-in-command, voice tight with tension. Before Toll could respond, the communication screen activated again. President Yoon's face appeared, calm and resolute. "Admiral Toll," she said, "we could have struck first. Our ships had your fleet targeted before you knew we existed. Remember that. Now let's discuss what real partnership looks like." Toll looked around at his officers. All were awaiting his command. The mighty Council fleet had never surrendered, but they had never faced a situation like this before. "Open a channel to all Council ships," Toll ordered. When the channel was ready, he spoke with all the dignity he could muster. "This is Admiral Toll. Stand down weapons. Do not engage the Earth vessels. I will meet with the human leadership." 1 day later, aboard the Earth flagship Defiance, Admiral Toll sat across from President Yoon. The conference table between them held no weapons, only datapads and cups of steaming tea. "Your deception was impressive," Toll admitted grudgingly. Yoon's expression remained neutral. "Not deception. Self-preservation. We studied the Council's history. We saw what happened to the Paraxians when they resisted openly. The Council brings order to the galaxy," Toll said, but his words lacked conviction. "Order built on inequality isn't order," Yoon replied. "It's oppression disguised as peace." She activated a holographic display showing a new treaty. "These are our terms. Earth remains independent. Council ships may visit our system, but not patrol it. Resource sharing will be equal, with fair payment for all goods. And most importantly, the Council will begin the process of granting similar rights to all member species." Toll scoffed. "The High Council will never agree to this." Yoon smiled slightly. "They will when the alternative is the collapse of their power structure. We've already made contact with 12 subjugated species. They know what's possible now." Toll studied the human leader. In her eyes, he saw something the Council had never truly understood about this species: unwavering determination. "You would go to war against the entire Council?" he asked. "We would prefer not to," Yoon answered honestly. "But we've prepared for that possibility for 5 years. How long has the Council prepared for a real challenge to its authority?" Toll had no answer for that. 2 months passed. On the Galactic Council station, representatives from 100 worlds gathered in the Grand Chamber. The agenda today was historic: ratification of the new Treaty of Mutual Cooperation and Sovereignty. Ambassador Min stood at the central podium, looking out at faces from across the galaxy. Some showed excitement, others fear, and more than a few displayed open hostility. Esteemed members of the Council, Min began, humanity did not develop in isolation, and we do not wish to stand apart now. But neither will we kneel. The era of the Council's silent conquests is over. Murmurs spread through the chamber. On one side sat the traditional Council powers, their influence diminished but still substantial. On the other, representatives from worlds that had been little more than resource providers until now. This treaty recognizes the sovereignty of all member species, Min continued. It establishes fair trade practices, mutual defense obligations, and equal representation in Council decisions. A tall being with crystalline skin rose to speak. The Alderaans reject these changes. The old system maintained peace for 10,000 cycles. Did it? Min asked quietly. Or did it maintain the appearance of peace while building resentment? Ask the Piraxians if they felt peace when their homeworld was blockaded for seeking fair treatment. From the back of the chamber, the Piraxian representative stood. Earth speaks truth. For 200 years, my people have served the Council, never as equals. We support this treaty. One by one, representatives from formerly subjugated worlds rose to voice their support. The vote that followed was narrow, but the outcome clear. The treaty would be ratified. Later, Min stood at the great viewing window of the diplomatic lounge, looking out at the stars. Earth was not visible from here, but he could imagine it. A small blue planet that had changed the course of galactic history. Ambassador Min, a voice called from behind him. He turned to see Counselor Mara approaching. Her skin shifted through shades of blue and purple, colors that Min had learned indicated deep contemplation among her species. You've changed everything, she said, stopping beside him at the window. Min nodded. That was the point. The galaxy needs partners, not masters and servants. Mara was silent for a moment. I did not believe humans capable of such foresight, such patience. The Council has existed for 50,000 years. You transformed it in 5. We had good teachers, Min replied with a small smile. Your subjugation strategy taught us the value of appearing harmless while building strength. And now, Mara asked, what happens when the next aggressive species rises, without the Council's firm control, who maintains order? We all do, Min said simply. Together, as equals. On distant worlds across the galaxy, beings of all forms watched recordings of Earth's stand against the Council. The footage had spread despite attempts to control it. In homes and gathering places, in hidden meetings and public forums, they spoke in hushed tones about their own potential, about hidden strengths, about a future where they might stand tall. On the Nalaxian homeworld, a group of engineers studied human ship designs, noting innovations they might adapt. On Jantari, political leaders whispered about elections, a concept forbidden until now. And on 20 more worlds, hope began to grow where resignation had once taken root. Back on the Council station, Ambassador Min finished his conversation with Mara and returned to his quarters. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. The treaty was just the beginning. Old powers would resist change. Some might even attempt to restore the former order. But humanity had shown what was possible. They had prepared in secret, revealed their strength at the perfect moment, and changed the galaxy without firing a single shot. Min smiled as he looked at a small hologram of Earth rotating on his desk. They had come so close to conflict, so close to war. Yet humanity's preparation had prevented war rather than started one. The Galactic Council would evolve. Humanity would help guide it, and the stars would be better for it. The end.